Welcome back to the Time Capsule Show podcast, where we learn a little more about life through the stories of everyday people just like you and me. My name is Joerenz.
And I'm Joenrhuz.
Today, we have a YouTuber and the community creator of the Diva Nights, which focuses on helping small creators, Andrew Samos, aka Diva Nove. Welcome, Andrew.
Well, hi. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here on our show today. We're so lucky to have you. I'm so excited to hear more about how you support the community and how you help everyone grow.
To be honest, I thank you. You're very well. I don't know what to say, to be honest. I honestly didn't think you guys knew about the Diva Nights because I thought I was going to mention the Diva Nights, and I thought you guys already came in and knew it. That's great.
We did our research. Trust me, we did our research.
Oh wow!
What they call it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
No, yeah, I remember as far as the interviews, I know there's some people that like to take a Larry King approach to it, where they know absolutely nothing about someone going in for a natural feel to it. I don't like doing that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, can you tell us a little more about what you do? You're a YouTuber and you also help small content creators. And I know I've seen online you've got some music videos, you also got some stories. So tell us a little more about all that.
Oh, wow. Where to start then? Where do you want me to start? Where do you think I should start? I'm not sure.
Wherever your heart desires.
Well, in terms of the helping small YouTubers, I thought I needed a lot of help, so I put a lot. When I was beginning, I'm still beginning, to be honest, but I thought that I needed some help. So I'm I have to figure out how to really push myself and really figure out how to maybe perhaps get views and get myself viewed a little bit better. So I'm sure other people want this sort of help as well. And so, and at the same time, you could just go on Google and pay for ads and stuff like that. But not everyone has that sort of ability. So I decided, let me see if I could do it in a way that people don't really have to pay a lot of money or any money, to be honest. So I do it. I try to help small creators just build themselves up, and we're sort of helping each other at the same time as well. So that's sort of really the foundation of Diva Nights, to be honest.
So is Diva Nights the people that you're helping? Is that what your following is called?
I don't want to say following, but I feel like it's basically it's sort of the people in the little circle but it's always growing, of course, but sort of it's complicated, and I think it just sounds cool. Diva Nights.
Yes, it does. I like it. It reminds me of those celebrities who have names for their followers. I can't think of one on the spot. I know Beyonce has one.
The Beehive or
the Beehive, yeah.
Now we got the Diva Nights.
Wait, so how did you come up with the name Diva Nove and then Diva Nights? How did you come up with that?
Well, it's Diva Nove.
Oh, Nove.
It's like Beyonce.
Yeah, except I don't have the little thing. I should have, but I didn't. Whoops. But the little accent, I should say. So I get a lot of people saying Diva Nove because they see it in one without a space, because without it's so. Oh, Diva Nove. Oh, interesting. So no, it's not that either. Damn it. But Diva, actually, a friend of mine came up with it once, because it's a funny story, because we were on a road trip, and I'm I need to have a snack right now. I need to have some. I don't care what I eat. I want a chicken and an orange or something like that. Just so, and then he's oh, you're such a diva, and I'm okay. And so that stuck. So and then I'm you know what? I like that word, diva. I like the name Diva, so I kept that. And the Nove part is actually my birthday's on November, so it's I took away the ember and then Diva Nove.
I like that.
And the Diva and Diva Nights is you are the Knights. I don't know why I said that.
Well, it's pretty catchy. Well, I got a question. Are you a diva?
I don't think so. That's why I feel I think everyone is. I think everyone is a little bit in their own way. I think it's relative. Yeah.
Wait, well, so why did you want to help the small communities out there and help them grow? Like, what is it? Like, what do you see in there?
I feel like sometimes it's hard to find a spotlight and hard to really put yourself out there when you have, especially I see a lot of these small creators, especially in the Diva Nights, and I see them and I feel like they could be so big, you know? And I'm like, I just need, they need something. They need like help a little bit. And I feel like, and yeah, and I feel like I'm not the only one who felt like I need a little bit of a spotlight. And so I'm just like, I try to help people find that. And that's really it. That's sort of really it. And yeah.
Did you ever find someone help you in the same way that you're helping these other people grow? Or is this something that you found lacking in your own journey and that you want to be there for someone else?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm not sure if you know, meeting people is great. So I'm meeting, when I met you guys, it was amazing. So I feel like this is a definite help, like, to be honest. So like, I can't say I've never met anybody who didn't help me or something like that. But I feel like I don't want to say that I feel like I'm a little bit different in my help approach, but to be honest, it helped. I feel like there wasn't enough, to be honest. I feel like what I'm doing is a little bit original, and I'll admit that. So I feel like I feel like I feel like there was a lacking of that sort of thing, I should say.
So what I love about this is that, like, going back to what you said before, like everyone's got a little bit of diva in them, and then your thing is Diva Nove. So it's kind of like you're helping these small creators get their own chance in the spotlight to be there to release their inner diva.
Yeah, that's actually good point.
You know, you should write a book on like the guidelines of how to be a diva.
Oh,
that's actually a good idea. That's a good.
So.
That's a good. My third book will be guidelines on how to be a good diva.
Your third book, so that means you have a first and second book.
Ooh.
I have a first one and a one that has not finished, not even started. Like barely I'm on the third chapter of.
Okay, so that one's a work in progress.
What's the first one?
The first one is it has two names, to be honest. Because it's not really released at all. It's I have one chapter on my website, but it's called Moonbeam or Once Upon a Moonbeam, but I'm not sure which one I want to call it. And it's an adventure. It's a fiction story. It's about three people, mid 25ers taking a road trip to a little town in northern Ontario, where they meet a cult leader, and then the cult leader tries to attack them. And and then a meteor comes and it goes. Wow. And that was sort of like that. It's not as exciting as it's exciting. I like it. I love it. I fucking love writing it. I love writing it. And pardon?
Yeah, that's so interesting. It's so funny because we know someone who joined the cult too, so I could relate.
Oh, I can relate.
I can relate.
No, but that's so cool. It kind of reminds me of like a Netflix series. It like starts out like, oh, it's like a trip. All of a sudden they join a cult and a meteor comes.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. Yeah. But there's a little bit more elements to it. It goes into introspective of how people feel and like how people hide their emotions, and how three different people sort of kind of relate, even though they're in three different types of walks of life. They come from different parts of the track, but they're still very similar. And so it's an introspective, and then chaos ensues, and they have to deal with it together. That's basically.
So let's say that you weren't doing, you didn't write this book. Let's say you weren't supporting these smaller communities. What else do you think you would be doing with your time if you weren't doing this?
Well, that's a good question. If a long time ago I wanted to be a botanist. Sorry, I like it's like flower things. Like you learn about flowers, and I think that's what it is. And I loved watching David Attenborough's specials when they'd go across the world. And I know he does a lot of animal stuff, but he does a lot of plant stuff too. He's a whole like series on plants. And And so like the idea of just going across the earth to find like plant life and animal life, I thought that would have been amazing. So that's something I really literally wanted to do before I sort of came around here. And
Interesting.
I might, pardon?
Honestly, it's interesting. Like, what is it about plants that intrigues you towards it?
I don't know. I find them, I don't know. I find them so fascinating. I find them so fascinating, to be honest. Like, they're they're intriguing because they sort of they're sort of like animals. They're another sense sort of animal, because if you see them still, they look as if they're just like kind of like waving around. But if you speed them up, they're doing things, and that's so amazing to me. And there's so much variations to like how plant life really works, and like you're like, oh, that a plant can do that. A plant can like shoot a bullet basically and like kill me. Like if you go down to the Amazon, there's like plants that explode. I'm like, what, that
I've heard
exists?
of those. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's plants that are like the size of like huge, and you're like, wow, how can a plant be that big? It just blows my mind how like there's such I don't know. I just find
Yeah.
that fascinating.
We were like that too. Like in the 5th or 4th grade, we bought like a Venus flytrap, and we got like tweezers, and we would feed it ants and flies, and
Yeah,
it would
like,
just like close. And
like
I'm like,
fascinating
whoa.
how
Interesting.
that's so fascinating. Stuff like that's just so fascinating, you know?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're so right. Wow.
You know, I think it also ties back to like how before, like you said, you wanted to help like creators grow. Now you would also, in that alternate universe, you'd be helping plants grow.
Diva plants.
Oh, I like that.
Diva plants, I love that. All right, so we're now at the segment of the show we like to call Past, Present, and Future, where we're going to explore 3 different periods of your life, and we're going to compare it because, you know, we're not the same at every stage of our life. Sometimes we are, but for the most part, no. All right, so let's start with the present. How do you see yourself now?
How do I see myself now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see myself as someone who, this is a bit weird, who might crash and burn or might explode into like in that same explosion in a glorious fireball. Like yes, or oh,
Like a
like that,
phoenix.
like right there. That's how I sort of see myself. If that makes any sense.
I think it does. It sounds very
Okay.
volatile.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, and how does this person, this fireball, compare to the person you were 5 years ago?
I think a little bit similar, except I was driving an Uber and I was reporting on my weekly Uber trips. Like I don't know. That's what I was doing 5 years ago. I was an Uber driver, and I was like, that's how I started my YouTube, and then I progressed to sort of what I do now. So it was sort of like a weekly vlog of my trips. It wasn't as tame as I'm maybe making it out to be, but yeah, that's, and I feel like I was not as sharp as I am now. I'm a bit more in tune with the times and stuff. Like I was a little bit more ignorant when it comes to a lot of things, and I think that comes with age sometimes. I'm not saying I'm old, but you know, I'm just
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the older we get, we just see the world differently, you know?
Ooh.
We just
yeah,
see
exactly.
things
So yeah,
much
I find myself, I'm a bit more like, really, oh, what's going on right now? Like, and really, I care more, if that makes any sense.
right. Well, I gotta ask you now. You said you used to drive Ubers. Like, what was like the weirdest experience you had with a passenger? Like, or funniest, or whatever.
Funniest and weirdest. I think I was at like a bridal shower. I picked up some ladies at a bridal shower. This could be the funniest and weirdest and most exciting. And
Ooh.
it's, yeah, and they were all absolutely hammered. And that's what you get at 3 a.m. That's all you get. And so I picked them up. At like in a little town called Vaughan, north of Ontario, and then we were going downtown Toronto. So that's about like maybe 60 kilometers on an Uber fare. And I don't know if that means anything. Like that's a lot or little, but so they were completely hammered. And so my car, I had a little Toyota Matrix, which I still have, and it fits 1, 2, 3, 4, and they were 5 people. So it was me and 5 other people, but there's only 4 seats. So mother hen sat in the front seat beside me, and then there's 3 seated, and then some lady crammed herself lying down underneath their feet. That I shouldn't say this, but you'll never know. Anyways, or never mind. And so what happens? We drove down, and like we can't. I don't know. I feel like they snuck her in. Like I think that's what happened. They snuck her in, and I'm like, oh shit, there's way more people in here than I thought. And so we ended up being downtown. And they were drunk, and they were trying. And then at one point, one of the girls they puked in the car, and then I asked her, something smells funky in here. Is everyone okay? And then she's like, it smells like vodka. I said it smelled like vodka, and she corrected me, saying, no, it's Hennessy. She said she corrected, made sure that I knew what drink she was vomiting out. Yeah. And then later on, another girl who was about to puke, who didn't want to puke in the car again, she opened her door while I was driving about 60 kilometers an hour. I guess maybe that's 40 miles an hour. Opened the door and tried to puke out the door while the car was driving. I'm like, oh my God. She was wearing a seatbelt because somehow she took it off. And then I'm like, okay, we're stopping now. So I had to wait. And then, yeah. And then, so I dropped them off at their condo, and then they all got out. They all said sorry. And then as I drove away, they were like, bye. And it was the funniest like rear view mirror I've ever seen in my life. One of them. And that was a very exciting. I feel like that's like a regular Uber night on a Friday. A regular Friday Uber night for any Uber who does Friday.
Wow. I can only imagine them. You're looking back on the mirrors and you're like, bye. Do you have like that image like printed in your mind?
Yeah.
We're sorry.
I love his reaction. I don't know if you're mortified, if it's a judgment on me, or are you just mortified at the story?
I hope they gave you a big tip.
No. It was no. I had to clean it. I didn't know that I could have charged them for the vomit because I was still very new. So I didn't know about it. I'm just like, okay, I'll just clean everything up with like whatever chemicals, and it was okay.
That sounds like something out of like a movie or like out of Bridesmaids or something.
That's why I vlogged about it, because it's just so, yeah, it sounds like a movie.
That's much needed.
It was so silly.
Jesus. Now, all right, to get back to the segment, how do you think things are going to be for you in the next 5 years?
How I think they're going to be and how I hope they're going to be. That's an interesting one. Well, the way I want them to be is I want to perhaps expand everything I've created, whether it's the Diva Nights, whether it's my YouTube channel, expand. Like, I don't care really about the followership or like the views or I want to get better at what I'm doing, because obviously there's a lot of things to get better on, like technologically and cinematographically. So I want to get better at doing that, and I also want to be better at helping, helping the small creators, helping the Diva Nights or whoever, and not just and hopefully be able to as well as promote. I want to help produce people, and I also like I kind of want to dabble in security, but only for production, because that's a thing that because I think if I wanted to go, because okay, in an ideal world when we're allowed to travel, I'd like to go to abroad places, and certain places aren't exactly safe. So if I wanted security, I'm sure other people do want security. So I'm learning this. I'm taking this from a car company who makes carbon fiber, but also uses the carbon fiber to make cars. So I'm going, if that makes any sense, I want to have a security company to help myself and also help other people produce themselves, and like if they go like to a very like insecure place in the world, make sure they have security, stuff like that. So maybe I want to dabble in that as I move forward. That's a lot of information. I feel like I spoke very, very fast.
It's really, really interesting, especially the part about security.
Yeah, I'm still like taking some time to absorb that. Like, it's like I love that idea.
Hopefully you won't have to deal with any drunk bridal shower girls.
Definitely not.
Oh God, that's a disaster. We should have like a whole episode just talking about that, and probably other stories that you have, which I'm sure you do have other stories.
I would love for that. I do. I don't have an infinite amount of stories, but I do have maybe about 5 or 6 that are really okay. But I would definitely, I would love to do that. That'd be fun.
Definitely. So I'm sure you've experienced a lot in your life. You've experienced a lot of people that were vomiting in the backseat of your car. You've experienced a lot of great people that you've been helped influence and you've been helping to grow. So, keeping that in mind, what principles do you live your life by?
Oh, wow. Principles. The one that comes to mind is I don't eat canned food. That's it. Like that's every like.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Oh, like okay, so that was a bit of a joke, but
Oh, no, I thought you were serious. I
Wait,
actually
what
like
do you- I
that.
didn't hear-
I am a little bit serious, but it's obviously it was a very serious question, and I answered it silly.
Wait, did you say I don't eat canned meat?
Canned food.
No,
Oh,
canned food. Canned food. I don't eat anything out of a can. I don't
You
eat
really
it. I don't like
don't?
to eat any. I don't. No, I drink a lot of pop, but I don't eat like canned foods. That's like one. That's like what. I'm not sure if you know Didi, but Didi is like, oh my god, like that's where I could become a diva. I think like, oh god, him and his canned potatoes. So that's yeah. But a principle I live my life on is one. Okay, that's one silly one, but a serious one is like I feel I'm not sure if I'm answering this right, but I take every year I sort of like to evaluate my life and evaluate where I was last year and see, okay, where have I come and what have I done last year? Where did I come from? So let's say I'm in a down place. I feel it's important to look back and see where were you last year or where was I last year and say, I'm a little bit better than I was last year, or at least that's not happening to me. And that's where I am now. So I feel like I evaluate myself year by year and say, okay, I'm a little bit better than I was last year. Even if it's an incremental change, or at least it hasn't gone downhill or something, I feel. Or something that if something went bad, maybe this is a little bit better than it was. So I feel like that's the word at times I'm struggling to take it.
So you're like very reflective, introspective,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you like take
That's-
notes on your life pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like that's very important. Yeah, for me to do.
No, that's super important, especially when the world is like we're focused so much on other people, especially on social media. We always want to watch the news. We got to focus on this, the trendy new that, TikTok. We forget to take time for ourselves to do this. So that's incredibly important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's an interesting time we're in. Yeah, definitely, and it's ever changing.
Of course. And so like to touch on that point, the world is ever changing. It's always moving so fast. I mean, like literally the technology from 10 years ago, like the iPhone 5 is obsolete now. Like no one uses that anymore. But like in this world that's always changing, always evolving, there are certain constants around us and like certain things that sometimes we take for granted. So what would you say you're grateful for in your life?
Oh, grateful for my friends and family and like a lot of opportunity that's just come my way sometimes. Like I'm like, how lucky am I? Sometimes I'm like, like I'm grateful for I'm grateful for my friends and family and people I meet. Really, like that's like literally. I don't know if I'm missing anything when I say that. I feel, but that's like the first thing that comes to mind. Like the people who inspired me, like the Diva Nights wouldn't have been a thing without a person who sort of inspired me. They don't like me anymore that much, but they still inspired me, and maybe we'll be friends again. But and then even becoming a YouTuber, the idea of becoming a YouTuber, a friend of mine said, you should do that. I'm like, okay, maybe. And so like it's like I think without anybody who influenced me from the outside, I wouldn't be doing anything I'm basically doing right now. Like wouldn't come up with any of the ideas.
So like speaking of influences, who inspires you on like a day-to-day basis?
Day-to-day basis. Inspires Jeremy Clarkson. that's the guy from Talk Your Grand Tour. He's very inspiring to me. I want to emulate him. Sort of, not everything exactly, but
I'm not familiar with this guy, so like, what kind of person is he?
he's a nice guy at heart, but he's a bit bombastic and explosive, and yeah, so I'm like, that could be me.
You know, I feel like that's you. Like, I'm comparing it to the answer that you said earlier about like,
Yeah,
either like
Fireball.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's who I sort of try to emulate. I don't want to emulate them to the point where you fake, or like, you know, like somebody would say that to me, like, you copycat. I don't want to do that. I want to do it in my own little way.
Right.
But he inspires me. Yeah, he inspired me to kind of go in certain directions I am, especially my YouTube. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's so great to hear that, you know, someone inspires you in your life and you take influence from that. I feel like everyone needs some sort of influence, a good influence in their lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. That's very important.
So, Mr. Diva Nove, we're up to the part of the show where we get our title from Time Capsule. Are you ready for this question?
I am super ready. I practiced this one.
Awesome. Yeah, it's the toughest one. People always struggle with this one. So let's just dive into it. So if you were to leave something in a time capsule for people to dig up 100 years later, what will you put in there and why?
I would put a custom designed coin with everyone who's inspired me or being a very a personal influence in my life. Not like, you know, a celebrity I like too much, like Jeremy Clarkson. I mean like a person who like one-on-one helped me, and all the Diva Nights obviously. But like, I wrote this down. Coin with the name of everyone who means the most to me, friends and family, and people who made a personal special impact in my life. Yeah, that's the one. So like, and that's what I do. I have like a coin, like I want to make like a coin like this big, maybe silver. I don't know what kind of metal it'll be, but it'll have all these sorts of designs on it, maybe pictures of sort, and like beautiful calligraphy, but it'll have all the names of them. And so I know that it'll be in 100 years time picked up and somebody will be like, I can't read any of this, but it'll I'll know that it'll be out there for people to pick up and be like, it'll be a mystery to them. It'll be a mystery to them. That's what I find. It's like, wow, this is beautiful. You know, I wonder what it all means. Yeah. So I don't know if that's beautiful or not.
Yeah, I can only imagine like 100 years later, an archaeologist picking that up and they're like, what is this? It's not a dinosaur bone, but what is it?
It's not. Yeah. So that's what I feel like I'd put. Yeah.
I love that. That's so sweet.
And again, I feel like that ties into you being self-reflective, you being like, you know, looking back at your life and again, being grateful for the people. Like I feel like all of our answers are tying together at that time capsule question.
I hope that that's a good time capsule object, to be honest. I feel like a lot of people put like really profound things and nicer things. I feel like mine is not as grand as theirs, but it means a lot to me. I don't know. I mean, that one means a lot.
You'd be surprised what other people put in their time. Okay. Believe this or not, someone said they put a face mask in the time capsule.
Okay. Remember, you're gonna need this 100 years from now, or maybe.
I mean, look, everyone puts whatever they feel is best. There's no wrong answer on our show. There's no wrong answer. Nothing is wrong. Maybe with me sometimes.
Okay.
Diva Nove, is there anything else you'd like to? Do you have any final words of advice, or like any final words you want to leave our listeners with?
I feel like if you have like a certain idea, and you're scared to like express it or show it, whether it's like a video or whether it's like your artwork or whether it's your music, I feel like find avenues to be able to pursue it, if it's in a small scale or in a big scale. And because you never know, if you don't try, you don't want to regret anything or anything like that. In my mind. You know, take criticism. I feel like take criticism, you know, just like a little bit like that, because, you know, people want to criticize you a lot sometimes, and I feel like that's a big thing with certain like that's a big obstacle for people to overcome. Sometimes they just hear one little bit of criticism, they're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. So I feel like not everyone's a professional, not everyone knows what they're talking about, even if they say something particularly mean or particularly volatile. So I don't know if that maybe that was a bit wordy.
No, that's great. And especially like in a world where we've glorified people like Simon Cowell, who constantly criticizes and mocks people, whether they're good or they're bad. We've sort of developed into this
That was like for
society where,
television, yeah.
yeah, and especially with social media, we're incredibly judgmental to other people. We don't, and sometimes even judgmental towards ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough of a chance to breathe, you know?
Yeah. I fall into that latter category, I think, sometimes.
All right, so where can our listeners follow you or find more about you or get in touch with you?
Diva.Nove on my Instagram. You can email me at soylikecars@gmail.com. Soylikecars. You can follow me on Instagram if you'd like. You can subscribe to me on Diva Nove YouTube channel. I think that's all I got, to be honest. I have Diva Donuts, or Diva Do Nots, or Diva Donut on Twitter. It's either one or the other, but it's like I say weird stuff on, not really weird stuff.
Yeah.
I love
Don't
the
do
names.
it, Diva.
I love the name. So if you're listening out there and you want to be a Diva Knight, go follow Mr. Diva Nove on all of these platforms. Well,
thank you.
Unfortunately, we've come to the end. So thank you so much for being a part of our time capsule. And thank you to our viewers for watching and listening. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tune in again next time to meet another amazing addition to our time capsule.